Welcome back to the Backmarkers Podcast. This is episode 5, baby. It's the Kyle Larson episode. As usual, we've got YT and Ryan up in this little piece, and we are talking about Las Vegas.
Vegas, baby! We are down a member. Rest in peace, Logan. His brain decided to die on him. He's still alive.
Campbell's soupy.
We still love you, Logan, but we gotta make it. We gotta make it a man down. So,
and thank you for editing this video in the future because you weren't here.
And I'm not very good at editing. We might find out very soon. So we had a pretty darn good weekend of races. I think, topped off by what was maybe the best Cup race of the season, probably.
Oh, I would definitely say so. I mean, we'll get into our race ratings later, but that cup race.
Wascally Cup race.
I've been doing that a lot. My R's are not being good to me. For somebody whose name starts with an R, I need to get better at my R's.
Do you call yourself Wyan?
Well, I might have to at this point. But
Backmarkers Podcast.
I think honestly that was probably one of the best intermediate track races I've seen in a while in the Cup Series.
All round 2 is pretty fun to watch. All 3 series.
Right. Yeah, but especially the Cup Series with this specific package. This would for the high horsepower, the 550 or the high downforce, low horsepower. The 550, whatever. That was probably a top
horsepower.
Yeah, that was probably a top 3 race, honestly, for that package, I would say.
Oh no, Tyler Mole's back.
My package had a top 3 race this weekend too.
Was it fair?
Though, I do have
one
8.5. I have one concern about having 2 pretty solid races in a row with this package is that NASCAR is going to be this package is actually pretty good, and they're going to have some other classes. Because they've done that stuff before.
They're just going to trash the next gen car, and they're just going to give us that package.
They're going to be what? The racing has been pretty good this season. Just put low horsepower and make that wing 30 feet tall.
Just wait till we get to fucking Atlanta and then that race. I know that's with 2 weeks coming up, but I have very low expectations for that.
Bring the road course cars to Atlanta, baby. See what happens.
Bring the short track cars. And everything.
Rick Ware, we know, will be bringing their road course cars to Atlanta, but
their road course cars are the same as their super speedway cars. So.
Yeah, they're bringing the Singapore setup to Atlanta.
The same car that races Atlanta will be racing Coda and probably Bristol Dirt as well.
Yeah, if we're being honest.
Probably their IMSA setup, honestly.
As far as our Cup picks go,
the regular cars are not there.
Tyler and Ryan, you guys were pretty close to the front with your Cup picks to win the race.
Yeah,
Tyler had Keselowski and you had Truex.
Yeah, Truex was. It felt like he never really could get past third place. It felt like that was sort of the highest he could get, and he was just stuck between 3rd and 7th the whole race. But Keselowski, obviously, I think he had the clear second best car in the field. I think he even said it after the race. He was it would have been a dominant performance for us if Kyle Larson wasn't here, and I think he's probably right. So.
And someone tweeted that quote and said, "Yeah, that's what all of the dirt racers across the country said last season."
Right, yeah. No, that's a good point.
Keselowski could have won that race if things had just played out slightly different. But
then again, though, Larson was good all day.
Yeah,
which I didn't really expect from him, just because. Yeah, it's a mile and a half, and he's pretty solid at those, but I didn't expect him to be very good at Vegas. He's never really had the results there.
Well, he's never won. This is his first
mile
win
and a half win.
at a mile and a half. Yeah.
How many times did they say that on the broadcast that he's had 9 runner-ups at mile and a half tracks?
But still, like 9 runner-ups before then. He's pretty
pretty
solid at them.
It's better than Mike Joy having flashbacks to Riverside Raceway and getting.
Dude, I wonder how many.
Let me tell you about that time that Joe Weatherly smoked the wall with his head and died. That was at Riverside. I was there.
He was high-fiving the wall with his head.
I was just a little popcorn boy in the stand selling little boxes of popcorns.
No, but
that's my Mike Joy of the day.
Was
real good though. It was. I mean, we always talk during the races, and we had plenty to talk about Sunday.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the companion races were both really good. The truck race, some stuff happened. I'm sure. John Hunter Nemechek
didn't win. Like what a
yeah. Do we want to just go ahead start with the truck race here then?
All right. And there was the controversy too that happened during the truck race. Did Kyle bring out that caution? I don't know if you guys saw interviews he did after the race, but he pretty clearly, did not want to answer that question.
He's not an idiot, all right. He ain't an idiot. He saw what happened with Bubba Wallace, Yeah. But I think from that point with Bubba Wallace, what was that, 2 years ago at Texas? I think all the drivers are kind of like, yeah, just like don't be a fucking idiot. Just say you did it. But we all know, like.
I mean, but the thing is, you can't really. I mean, obviously he did it on purpose, like he knows it too. But with what he was saying, you can't criminalize him for it.
Oh no,
he said no. He said no the whole time. So
he said no. I mean, he's had a flat tire.
He said no to answering the question. Even they're like, exactly. Will you tell us what happened? Nope.
I will say this. Like just watching the close-up replay, and he had like white gloves on. He turned left and didn't turn back to the right. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But that was the biggest thing that I know.
It's not even a controversy. It's just he obviously spun it. Everybody knows it, but you just can't criminalize him for it because of things he said. Just saying no.
Oh no, I think obviously like that's the right. I mean that's like as a competitor, like that's the right move. Like to do that, obviously it made sense. Yeah. But I mean you can't. In that like NASCAR, if he says no, or I mean they can't just come out and like you said criminalize a guy for spinning out with a flat tire. Like that's just
I mean as you've seen in like 2008, 2009, whenever they had the wing cars. And he got held for a lap for flipping off the official. He was like, that's going against the Constitution. My man knows his laws, bro.
Hey, I think it kind of sucks because, like, that race is already, in my opinion, better without Kyle Busch. And then you've got a Cup guy coming down. If he did that in a Cup race, I'd fully be behind it. I'd understand it. But he's doing that in a fucking truck race. I mean, I know the dude wants to win. But don't punish these other drivers because you got a flat tire.
Especially when your truck is dominating.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, he could have ended up hurting his own team. I kind of wish he would have.
That would have been pretty funny.
The thing is, though, with Kyle Busch, what I respect and I don't respect, like you said, he loves the win. And I respect that drive that he has. But when you're going to screw over your own truck... when you get pissed that you finish second to your own truck, like as an owner, I'd be like, yeah, I understand, like I blew a tire, like, but cool, my truck got it, I finished second.
Well, and I mean, like that's the thing. It's like Kyle Busch is a competitor, obviously. He's the most happy when he wins, and he's the most pissed off when he loses. But like,
I hate to play a video game against him. He'd probably just fucking stab me if I won.
He'd go Spencer.
Oh yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, like him winning another truck race, like doesn't really do a whole lot versus like John Hunter Nemechek winning a truck race. Like he's locked in the playoffs. He gets more playoff points. Like,
oh, you know what though?
What?
Remember though, like a year or two ago, he said that he'd retire after he gets to like a certain amount of wins.
That was in the Xfinity series. Like he said, once he gets to 100, he's at 97 right now, I think, in the Xfinity series.
Yeah, so I'm cheering on those next 3 races.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like NASCAR. I mean, obviously, we've seen the last few years they've gotten stingier and stingier on how many races that Cup drivers can race. So it's basically 5 and 5 for each series. So like he's got 5 truck races, he's got 5 Xfinity races. But I mean, like like, what happens if he wins like the first 3 Xfinity races, gets to 100? Like, does he race the other 2, or like what?
Probably not.
That's,
I
like,
mean,
his number.
He's usually like a man of his word. He'll probably just be like, you know what, I'm out of this beat.
or if
he's
he's
got
leading on the
sponsorship.
last lap.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true though. Sponsorship is the thing.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean,
Because I think he's set for like how many this season? How many
He's
Xfinity
5
races?
and 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does as many as he can do. I mean, that's the thing though, is like I sort of get, I get like both sides of it. I think, in all honesty, like for the other, like the younger drivers in these series, like it's good to go against like cup competition and like test yourself at certain tracks.
Debatably one of the best drivers.
Right, exactly. And honestly, I think, the restrictions that NASCAR has put in place for like these lower series have worked, because there are so many less cup drivers that are racing each weekend now versus like if you go back like 5 to 10 years ago, like there were like, I mean, you had like all kinds of guys that were racing each week, like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin.
Yeah,
like they're like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Like you had
Mark
like
Martin.
Mark
When
Martin.
he was like the
gonna
number
mention
one
that.
bushwhacker.
Keselowski, like after he went to the Cup Series,
Exactly.
like there was so many like guys that used to like take pride in like running, these lower series and like competing in both series. Like I remember like back in like 2008, 2009, when like Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, they were all like cup drivers, established cup drivers, obviously, and racing like on Sundays, but they also like were competitive in the Xfinity series and like going for their own separate championship in that, which like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I was going to bring that up. Like I have it pulled up
Yeah.
right now. Carl Edwards won the 2007 Xfinity Championship nationwide then.
right.
And he was full-time Cup by then. He was full-time Cup 2006, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you
Yeah.
had, like if you go look at like the top 5, top 10s, 90% of them were Cup drivers back then, which I
Right.
think people do forget about because people are like, oh man, Kyle Busch.
I mean,
Right.
if you look at the
Forgetting.
field when my dad raced in the Busch series, it was ridiculous, dude.
Exactly. It's like a mini fucking Cup race.
Right.
It
On
was.
top of that, he had Kenseth in his rookie season in Busch, and you had Tony Stewart running his first races in the Busch series too,
Right.
along with the guys who did it all the time, plus Randy LaJoie, who was on a 2-year streak of winning the championship.
And that's like also the thing is like when you think about it, it's like there's like I feel like people have said like the last couple of years, like every year they're like, look how many like great young drivers there are, and like look how good a hands like NASCAR is in. Well, that's like honestly a lot of that is because like there's less cup drivers like in rides for like these lower series, and they have to fill it with younger guys, and they're getting like more exposure for that sort of thing. So like it is working the way like NASCAR and the fans want it to work. It's just like it works both ways. Like obviously it seems like if you go to Twitter or Facebook or whatever, like everybody's pissed whenever Kyle Busch wins a race or some cup driver wins some race now. Like the last couple of years, that's what everybody does. But at the end of the day, like I feel like it tested, guys didn't move up quite as quickly, back in the day, because like they had to like show they could beat like all these cup drivers, and like it seemed like it meant a lot more when like a few years ago we go back, like the winner of like the Xfinity series, like Chris Buescher, I think he had like 3 something wins, maybe. Like Chase Elliott, when he won it, I think he had like 3 wins. Like that's crazy. Like now, like look at last year was Austin Cindric had what, like 8 wins or something, and Chase Briscoe had 9.
Didn't win with 9 wins.
Yeah,
Right.
he had 9 wins. Cindric had like 6. Reddick,
Well,
or was it? Who was it? Not Reddick.
The big
Christopher
swing.
Bell, yeah, like
The
they
big
had all
swing
these
happened because now they're chasing, all the series are chasing young money.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, guys were making it to the Busch series when they were like 25 or between 25 and 30, because
Right.
they actually had to
Yeah.
race they had to prove that they could race a car.
Right.
Now you're sticking a 16-year-old or younger, 14, 12, 13-year-old in a super late model, giving him like 3 years. And if you have enough money, you're pushing your way up through. Like when he hits 17, he's got 16, 17, he's an ARCA, even though there are only 7 cars that show up to each race. And then, they're in, if they've got enough money and they show just enough talent. I want to say Sam Mayer, but like I really like Sam Mayer. So I'm gonna, and Sam Mayer also already has a truck win, so I give that kid respect.
I think he's valid.
Also, too,
yeah.
Going back to the old like Xfinity stuff, like 10 years ago when all the Cup guys are still in it. Look at like Brad Keselowski. He came up through there, and he's one of the premier like Cup guys now.
Yeah,
Joey Logano too, right?
I feel like he's one of the last ones to do it without his own like sponsors toting the way. He had like junior sponsors when he was racing in that 88 car, like the
Daddy car.
Up against all the Cup drivers, and he's still Navy really car. Solid. And look at him now; he's a very solid Cup driver. Joey Logano, very solid Cup driver, came up through the Xfinity Series. Granted, he got pushed up pretty quickly, but still came up through the Xfinity Series when he was battling all the big Cup guys.
Right.
So I'm a big hypocrite on it because I like seeing like the truck guys actually win and like having a full like their own championship. But at the same time, like you said earlier, they probably profit so much just from racing against these Cup guys. Like they learn so much, especially if you're on the same team, like Nemechek or whoever's in the 18 truck or whatever. They can probably talk to Kyle Busch day in, day out and be like, hey, what do I do here? What do I do here? Hop in the sim here. Like, what do you do with this part?
Speaking of profits, 2 drivers in the truck series profited from our little Marky Lemons little bonuses because Parker Clearman and Grant Enfinger finished in the top 10. Right. They were the only 2 out of the 75 drivers carrying the Camping World Truck Series logo on their truck to get that extra 15 grand.
Not only that, too, but 2 wannabe drivers got $50 each because your boy made an iRacing paint scheme.
I will be buying a cast iron pan from from the Camping World website.
But no, honestly, what really makes me happy too is Grant Enfinger outran every single Thor sport truck
except Crafton.
He was the highest finisher. Was he?
Yeah, Crafton finished 5th. Never mind. Enfinger was 7th, but Enfinger, I think he started from the back too, and he like drove like straight through the field.
And that's an underfunded team, that 9 truck.
He started 18th.
18th, okay, yeah.
Even then, mid-pack.
Parker Clearman started dead last. And he
Parker Clearman kind of
honestly,
that.
Like what do you guys think? That like I mean, it feels like Parker Kligerman, like he's sort of been like the last couple years, like I know like he's kind of like been, I don't even know if he's run like full time in like a few years.
Nope.
I could like honestly see him like because like Allmendinger kind of did the same thing. Like he was in the booth for a little while and then he decided, like maybe I'll go back to like racing and that sort of thing. Like I almost could see like Parker Kligerman getting a shot with like Colleague or something like that, like in the Xfinity series.
I think he just doesn't have the sponsorship is the problem because they said they weren't until Mark Lemons made that offer. They weren't even coming to Vegas. So they didn't. And Sam Mayer's going to be running in that Henderson truck a few races a year. I know he already raced at the Daytona Road Course that truck.
Yeah.
It's sad because I think if you put, him in like even a JD Motorsports ride, he probably comes close to making the playoffs, if not making the playoffs in the Xfinity Series.
He could be like a Chastain of 2018.
Where no one wants to beat Ross Chastain right now.
Yeah, that's why I said of 2018 because he was actually better and loved.
If you're Ross Chastain, you've raced in 4 Cup races this season and no one knew.
The only reason they knew is because you threw some nasty ass blocks.
Yeah, exactly. He swerved down 3 lanes to block Ryan Blaney at
and
Homestead.
Not only that too, but fucking booted him in turn 1 at Homestead. You see that save?
That's
right. That guy's lucky he didn't get sent.
Anyways, caution out. Back on track. Let's get back to the truck race.
No, you know what though, Tyler? You need to be given some props. I hate to give anybody props ever, but you were like the bridesmaid this weekend. You picked both guys who finished, I take that back. No, your Cup and your Xfinity picks both finished second. If I'm
That's
I was 2
right.
for 3 for
Yeah.
seconds.
yeah.
Who did I pick for
I-
truck again? Sheldon
No one
Creed, right?
remembers. We didn't talk about that one.
I think
thought
that
I
might
picked
have been
John.
Creed.
I think two of us picked John Hunter. I thought it was me and Logan, but
Let's just say I picked John Hunter because Logan isn't here.
Yeah,
You and I
you
did, we
do.
won.
and
then
Ryan picked whoever finished dead last.
No,
Angela
I
Rush.
picked Austin Hill, who started 31st. He drove up to third.
Yeah, he finished
he had
third.
a good run. He had a
Yeah,
good run.
no. Honestly, Toyota took the top 5 spots.
They did.
So you know, and that was the thing is like last year it felt like the GMS cars and like those Chevys were the best cars, but this year it's almost looking like the Toyotas are like, you know, looking like the best.
KBM back.
I need Logan when he looks at this, he's gonna mark me again because he got all over me last week for saying cars when we were talking about the trucks.
Yeah, we're
So
just gonna
I
put like
need
an
to, like-
expletive every single time that you say
It's
it.
like a
gonna be
swear jar.
Yeah,
We need to just keep track of this for the rest of the season because I swear every fucking week I will screw that up.
He just needs to do an overdub of him saying car and then just implant that in every time you say truck.
But no, yeah, because the top 5 spots were all Toyotas, and I mean, good run for Stuart Friesen. I mean, finished 4th after he ran absolutely terrible last year. So that was good for him.
We also
Well,
had Christian
Cliff.
Eckes in the top 10, as well as the driver to never be named,
Yeah, I was about to
Ben
say
Rhodes.
we got another top 10, Ben Rhodes.
Ben
Zane
Choate.
Smith was up there, though. Zane Smith started to get his shit together. Actually, Toyota was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 10 drivers were Toyotas.
Yeah,
And then it was Chevys
good.
because there are no Fords, basically.
Basically,
Mm,
Tanner
correct.
Gray, and he's too busy thinking about something else, aka Bulldog.
dude, I'm looking at
later.
the truck standings right now. So John Hunter Nemechek is leading the way. He's already got 3 stage wins this year, so he's in first. Ben
Should
Rhodes
be 3
second.
wins.
Yeah, very well. Then Sheldon Creed, 3rd, Crafton 4th, Chandler Smith 5th, Stuart Friesen 6th, Enfinger 7th, Todd Gillen 8th, Johnny Sauter 9th, and Carson Hocevar 10th.
Dude, Carson looking
Austin
good.
Wayne Self 11th.
I know, that's buck wild.
How insane is that?
wild.
Also, if you look at that, you see another thing, a bunch of Toyotas in the top 13.
Right.
I mean, Eckes is
90%
13.
of that series is Toyota. That's like the Toyota truck series.
Dude,
Eckes is 13th, and he's not even full time. He's only run 2 races.
I'm looking down on the stats here. So Jennifer Jo Cobb is 33rd. Tyler Ankrum is 31st.
Ouch.
Haley Deegan is 29th. Chase Purdy, who's going full time, 25th. Like there are some good
Struggle
cars. that are
buses. There's
way the fuck down here.
struggle
But it
trucks.
could be behind the wheel issues.
Jesse Awuji is 42nd.
Could be.
Oh, he's making a
one.
championship run.
It's
Championship run towards the inside wall, but it's still a run.
Dude, that's the thing though. It's like even if you were to fucking win a race, there's no like I don't even know what I think it's the truck series. You have to be in the top 20 in points for your win to count. So there's no like shot at that happening. I mean,
is it time we say niche trucks are overrated?
Yes.
Oh, they've
Brett
definitely
Moffitt
been
made him
overrated.
good.
You mean, well, yeah,
I'm
him
not saying
and
he made them good.
Chastain.
Blastain.
I mean, Hocevar is in a niche truck. He's the highest niche truck at 10th. And I don't see another niche truck until you hit.
Isn't Natalie Decker in a niche truck?
Oh, I guess Brett Moffitt's in a niche truck, right?
Dude, that's the thing is
He's
that I
16th.
don't get for Brett Moffitt's case, and he might find himself in a Chastain situation from a few years back where like he is right now, he is 16th in the truck series points. I mean, because he declared for the truck series points, but I think he's also running full time in the Xfinity series.
He
And he's
is,
had
but there was a reason that I can't remember why he didn't.
yeah.
But there have
Probably
been people on Twitter speculating that he will switch.
He should, because he's
Yeah.
running much better in that series.
Yeah.
He's,
And I mean, you have Tyler Reddick running that series too every once in a while in those Our Motorsports cars.
that car, he's been running in that car. Somebody else is going to be running in that car going forward. starting at Phoenix.
But
I
still,
saw the entry list.
Got a top tier driver in there, and it's going to be backed by Richard Childress most likely.
Right.
I'm pretty sure those Hour Motors, just like, well, did you guys watch that documentary on
Juarez?
Yeah, good old
No,
Juarez.
I didn't get to yet.
I haven't yet. No.
It's worth it. It's actually well done, and they had footage all the way up to Homestead, which is like 2 days after they released it.
This is an unpaid ad right here. So NASCAR, either please give us money or please go watch that and then tell NASCAR to give us money.
I couldn't even remember the name of their team for a minute. It's Mr. Worldwide Motorsports.
Trackhouse.
Oh, Trackhouse, yeah.
I think Mr. Worldwide Motorsports is way better.
That would be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bulldog's a fucking weird creep, but like whatever. You know, Mr. Worldwide Motorsports. There's a Worldwide 305.
Worldwide racing. Even though we only race in America.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We did touch on this a little bit earlier, and we were talking about this, but I just had one other thought for the whole Cup drivers and lower series or whatever. Like what would you guys do for like the eligibility for Cup drivers? Because honestly, like I don't think just saying like, oh, they can only race in 5 races is. I personally don't really like that. I think it should be if they have the funding, wherewithal, whatever, they can race in as many races as they want, except for the playoffs. Once it comes to the playoffs, I say they can't race, but up until then, I say they can race in as many as they want.
I'm okay with that, but they cannot be in a top car. They cannot be taking a top ride. If they had to, if the best ride that they could be in was like a DGM or like an RSS or an Hour Motorsports or a JD Motorsports car.
But there's no way to enforce that, though. That's the thing.
There is. You can't take then
you have to classify top tier. Like then NASCAR has to go in and say these are the A tier teams. These are like, I mean, we kind of know that. Like you can infer, and we know that.
You're right.
But then NASCAR has to go in and define who's A tier, who's B tier, that sort of thing.
Can't really
I'll tell you
that
right now. Stuart Haas, Joe Gibbs Racing, Junior Motorsports, Richard Childress Racing.
I mean, that's how I said.
But the thing is, NASCAR alone can't do that because they have to advertise that 40 cars can win.
Give out like 15 charters in the Xfinity Series.
Here's
what I top team, and they can't race for a charter team. Here's
what I would say to that. Like, if you guys said you wanted to go down that route, I would say like if a Cup driver decided they
have to go through Rick Ware first.
If they own like a team, like if they own a team, like if Kyle Busch like owns obviously his Truck Series teams, he should be able to race in as many races as he wants. If like remember like back in 2012 or something when Kyle Busch like went up to the Truck Series and or the Xfinity Series and him and Kurt like raced that one year in the 54 and they won like once, I think. And then like the next year, that same 54 car, they got help from, they're like, oh, Joe Gibbs, like help us please. And Kyle won like 12 races. Like if it was just them on their own, like doing, that sort of thing, I don't think there's anything wrong with them racing as many races as they want to. Like if you own that sort of thing, like if Denny Hamlin was like, all right, like we're going to try to expand 2311 racing. And he decided he wanted to race in, if he wanted to race like half the season and like try to like make the cars better and like give good feedback and like work with some other younger drivers, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
I don't disagree. That would be a good way to do it because make the driver with no help from their team in NASCAR field their own car. Yeah, I'm okay with it. That might even things out a little bit if they had to build their own car. Didn't have their own crew.
Yeah.
And that's the thing because, like, I mean, I don't think we want to see a scenario where, Kyle Busch is winning everything. 14 truck races and 12 Xfinity races like he was like 10 years ago.
Especially where he's doing so bad in Cup right now. He probably wants to get down there and snatch up some W's.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like it's funny. I think it was like 2019 maybe, that season when he was very heavy in truck and Xfinity like early in the season, and he just kept winning. And like he won most of his cup races early on because of like that confidence, bringing it over to the track. And like obviously the cars are very different.
And Kyle Busch is such a just like practice oriented guy. Like he knows so much about the car, like he knows what adjustments to make. If he gets those like extra laps like in the truck race or Xfinity race, like granted they could drive differently, he's still going to understand some stuff, and he's going to understand the differences.
How the track changes.
Exactly. And that's why he ran really well at Vegas, most likely, too, is not only is he always good there, but he ran that truck race. He probably understood some things.
Right. And
I mean
Tyler Reddick doesn't second in the Xfinity race and then second in the Cup race. So, I mean,
Exactly.
At Homestead.
Yeah, at Homestead, yeah.
And speaking of second...
So
the second race of the weekend was the Xfinity race on Saturday. Just try to do those.
Because
those nice little transitions.
Those transitions, baby. I got that strong transition game. We had a driver that I'm pretty sure we all probably like, the Dinger, get the W. I mean, it's hard to root against a guy like AJ Allmendinger, who seems to have pretty positive attitude, and he's like 4'7", so real fun watching him celebrate. Not to mention he stopped Daniel Hemrick from getting his first win ever in the history of his life, so I support that.
Dude, what was crazy about that race is like, we sort of made fun about YT last week for picking Hemrick, but I mean, it was almost the same situation in the Cup race with Brad Keselowski. It was like if Kyle Larson wasn't there, like Brad Keselowski was definitely the best car. Like I mean, I think if AJ Allmendinger wasn't there, I think Hemrick was definitely the best car.
I told y'all motherfuckers, I'm either gonna look like a dumbass or a genius, and I was damn near a genius.
I mean, I still think you look pretty smart for that. I didn't see that coming, but I mean, they've run really well, so I mean, credit to him. But no, that 16 car, I mean, they could run like anywhere on the track. Like they were good short run, late in the run. Like they just had it all going on. And didn't they have that? When was the last restart in that one? There was like how many to go? Was it under 10?
I don't know. We do this podcast so long after Saturday, I've forgotten all the information that ever had happened during that race.
There was like a caution with like 10 or 15 to go, and I knew that Hemrick was good. Hemrick seemed like he could stay with Allmendinger a little bit on the short run, but after that, Allmendinger seemed like he was better. But Allmendinger just got out in front of him, and then nobody could catch him. So, I mean, that's obviously awesome to see him win. I think you guys all had him in your Final Four. I don't think I did. So, I know I did. That just made sense. The guy's 39 years old or something, and he's racing full time. If you're in a colleague car and you're 39 years old, and Jeb Burton's got to be what, 50? So if Jeb Burton doesn't make the playoffs, he should just stop racing. Same with, and like AJ Allmendinger's got enough experience, and we've got a lot of road courses in this series where it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be him and Cindric battling for a lot of road course wins. Again, I want to throw a shout out to Josh Berry, because for the second, I take that back. 3 junior motorsports cars finished 5, 6, and 7, but that's he was the highest finishing junior motorsports car at Homestead, and this week that's his second top 10 in a row.
That's solid, dude.
And we're coming to Phoenix, where he's also on the entry list, and he's a short track guy, I guess, if you want to call Phoenix a short track.
Yeah. You're speaking about Cindric earlier. How about a big shout out to him for just dumping Harrison Burton? That was pretty cool. You don't see that very often.
That was pretty good. I mean, Harrison Burton still ended up finishing 9th. But yeah, no, that was, I mean, he clearly blocked, he was just like, I'm going to just jump in front of him and like not expect anything to happen. So
we call that being the 22, learning from the 22.
He's learning. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what
Logano you only got so much leeway to give guys before they start losing you spots. or taking away your momentum.
Now, did somebody say I know that Harrison Burton and Cindric, they went somewhere together. Like they went to the same school. Like it was I don't remember if it was high school or what. I know they went to the same school at one point. I gotta look more into this. No. I like the two of them. I know they went to the same school because I remember them talking about it like recently.
Well, let me take you to school on this question. A lot of people were asking this, even on the broadcast. Do we think Noah Gragson is a villain? Because I think he's awesome and he's exactly what this sport needs.
Exactly.
Discuss.
I think he is a better version of Kyle Busch personally. Like Kyle Busch is hated worldwide just because of like his personality, but he is very outspoken, and that's something that the sport needs. Noah Gragson, very outspoken, but he has a very, very good personality that people love. Like he has that just young, vibrant personality that people are like, oh shit, like that's really cool to watch. And like all his interviews are exciting, everything's exciting about him. So
there's
I think
a lot of people souring on him real quick in comments that I've seen. I think that's unfortunate because those same people will complain about how no drivers show any personality at all. You know, I want to thank my team. Everybody did a good job. I want to thank Goodyear for making a good tire. I want to thank my sponsors. That's what every driver says after a race.
Exactly.
And when you get guys like Dinger, who's kind of exciting to hear, and he doesn't really care what he says as much anymore. And Gragson, who's not afraid to call the dipshit a dipshit.
And that's the thing, though, is that's why he's been so controversial. Is just because he said that about David Starr, and people are like, "Oh, David Starr underfunded team running really well." Dude, like, shut the fuck up. You're looking through rose-colored rose-colored glasses.
You mean David Starr, who's racing a Hattori Motorsports in the Xfinity Series this week, baby?
That's right.
On up.
Let's go.
Moving on up.
I don't know how invested Hattori is in the Xfinity Series.
Oh, not very. I'm pretty sure they had Chad Fincham in that car this week, so they're invested in taking whoever's money has the money to field that car.
I'm going to address Noah Gragson in 1 second here, but I do want to also address the Harrison Burton, Austin Cindric thing real quick when I was talking about them going to the same school. I just looked it up just so everybody's on the same page here. They went to the same high school, so that's where I got that from.
I bet like 6 of those other drivers in that Xfinity Series probably went to high school with them too.
I'm not just blowing shit on my ass here. It might have been, honestly.
But no, like going back with Noah Gragson, like he's like a Kyle Busch with that out.
I wish you would stop comparing him to Kyle Busch because Kyle Busch is we're saying, is he a villain? And you're like, he's like not a villain, but he's like a Kyle Busch who is basically the biggest villain.
Yeah, but it's hard to like say that because Kyle Busch is outspoken. Like you can always get an exciting interview with him just because he's Kyle Busch. Like even though nope, that was like, oh shit.
Or
like,
unless he's just saying I'm not here. I'm just here not to be fined. Like,
exactly. Like it's exciting.
Yeah, I'll give you that. He's a dick, though.
Exactly.
I think Noah Gragson is just real.
Exactly. That's why Kyle Busch is the villain, but that's why I'm saying that Noah Gragson isn't. He's super exciting.
I think we could also ask Harrison Burton about Noah Gragson's right hook, too, because it looks like he had a pretty good right hook.
And I was also going to bring that up right before we start talking about this. Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
So,
Cindric... Real quick.
Hold up. So Cindric completely fucking dumped the 20 because the 20 thought he's going to have no repercussions of blocking him. I think that we need to have more fights and shit. Like, let him have at it more. Like, let people get mad about it, which is another thing that Noah Gragson does well, is that he wears his heart on his sleeve, and if you piss him off, you fucking piss him off, and he's going to beat the shit out of you. Or try to, at least, before he gets pulled back.
I also want to say we do not condone the use of tobacco products on this podcast.
Yes.
Ryan is just sucking a dick flavored.
It's not really tobacco.
Why he likes the gay pride flag.
Yeah. All hail gay pride. Let's go, baby.
Exactly. So children, if you don't
Ryan has another update on where some Xfinity drivers went to high school. Go, Ryan.
No, actually, I was going to touch on Noah Gragson. So I understand like the comparison to Kyle Busch. I almost think he is more of a I think he compares a little bit more to like Carl Edwards in the sense that Kyle Busch, like I don't even know, like the way Kyle Busch goes around like his stuff, like he's pretty much just 100% like pissed off. Like if he doesn't win, he's just 100%. He's just 100% pissed off. Like you hear him on the radio, like he's almost those Busch brothers. They're almost their own beast. I think like just listening to some of the interviews that Ty Gibbs gave in the ARCA series, like I kind of think he's sort of like the next like Kyle Busch in that sense, where he doesn't give a shit. Like he just rips.
But you think he's going to be angry? He's that angry?
Some of his interviews are pretty like, I mean, he also comes off as like the rich
and entitled, like he's going to be the most rich and most entitled driver.
Yeah,
and I still root for him. I'm very glad he's going to be on the track at Phoenix.
He will be. He's back in the field this week. I mean, I think he's very talented. Like I think that's a myth for people that think, oh, he's just been in blah 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 blah. Like I actually do
that's
think,
true too.
I mean, it is
Both
true, but
can be true.
Yeah, I do think he's very talented though. But Noah Gragson, I think he's a little bit closer to Carl Edwards. In the sense,
he's also going to try to murder Brad Keselowski.
But that's
I'm not going to let him kill my boy.
That's the thing is with Carl Edwards though. It's like Noah Gragson for the most part. He's just a very like fun, happy like guy that just tries to have fun, and that's sort of like
the anti-Kyle Busch.
Checkers or wreckers, they mentioned that 50 times during the Xfinity race.
Right, but that was also kind of the way that Carl Edwards raced. Like Carl Edwards always fucking went for it. Like no matter what. Like I was there at the Kansas race. I was live and in attendance for that Kansas race in 2008.
Race once? Bro.
I did. I haven't been to very many NASCAR races or races in general, but I was there for that one. I still remember the crowd when he was catching Jimmy Johnson around the top, and then all of a sudden he fucking sent that thing in the 3 past him, and then it was like, holy shit, how did he pass him that fast? And then he just drilled the wall, came off it. The crowd reaction for that was unbelievable when I was there. Anyways, but
Carl Edwards, baby, might be running for office.
Dude, honestly, Carl Edwards was like one of the most fun and exciting drivers to watch. Like I do miss Carl Edwards because he could still be at the top of the sport right now. I mean, I think everybody knows that. Like, he wasn't. I think he would still be like 40 at the oldest right now. Like he wouldn't be that old at all.
It will soon be Senator Carl Edwards, though.
I did see that.
Address him right.
He should come back to NASCAR if he becomes a senator. Come drive in NASCAR.
That would be pretty awesome. Honestly,
I mean, he could still try to kill Brad Keselowski because Brad K is still here.
Dude, and I honestly thought because like he also did, Carl did. He did quite a bit with like ESPN, like in the booth, like even while he was still driving, he was very good at that. Like he would have definitely had a career in that had he wanted to go that route.
He's good at everything, man.
He really is.
He's just a talented guy. I mean, and that was my thing with Noah is just like Carl Edwards, like he was very aggressive and he always went for it. But like he was, no matter what happened, he always like made a positive out of it and was just a fun, happy dude. And that's like how I see Noah Gragson is like, shit always happens to him. But like he speaks his mind, but he's always, for the most part is having a good time, got a smile on his face, and Carl Edwards is always great with like mentioning his sponsors. And that's the same way like Noah is. Like, I think that's a very, I certainly don't think like he is talent wise, like anywhere close to what Carl Edwards was.
His ass. Don't worry, no, we still love you.
We don't really know that though, because I feel like the age these kids are kids now, and I mean, give him 3 or 4 more years.
Listen, I mean, I do think Noah has talent. I don't know where he's gonna stack up eventually. I don't know where the room is going to be for him in the Cup Series. I'm not.
There's no room for anybody right now. So
right, and I'm not the most confident he's gonna find a ride at Hendrick anytime soon. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's back in the Xfinity Series next year with, it might be with Junior Motorsports again, it might not. But, yeah, I just think that's probably the best comp for Noah is Carl Edwards.
Yeah, I'm sorry to go back on my shit, but honestly, that was a really, really good analogy with Carl Edwards. I kind of forgot about him. I do think then, like, using your analogy, that he is definitely like a Carl Edwards, but a little bit of Kyle Busch in him because he can get pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
he can throw a punch. Kyle Busch is the same thing. Just walks up and just tries to throw a punch.
Dude, and ends up getting bloodied.
I was almost thinking back to, like, I'm trying to think, like, the only times Carl Edwards got mad, and the only time I really remember was that incident at Martinsville with Biffle. Yep. Do you remember that? Where it wasn't even, it was like a speed interview. It wasn't even like on the actual broadcast. It was like afterwards. And I don't even know what happened with him and Biffle. He just like came up to, or no, it wasn't Biffle. It was
Matt
Kenseth.
Yeah.
And he just like came up to him. He's like, oh. And then he's like, ha ha ha, you flinched, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, Carl Edwards is like twice as big as Matt Kenseth. Like, of course he's going to fucking flinch.
Honestly, though, Carl Edwards is scary, dude. That fool's fucking ripped.
Oh, yeah. That dude's
fucking is a fucking bitch. So,
yeah, I mean.
Anybody from Wisconsin.
Shout out to Eric Estep.
Kenseth. Welcome back. Now, I want to hear from you guys. You guys out there on the other side of the computer. YT, tell me your driver of the races for the NASCAR Cup Series race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Because I said maybe I have one, maybe I don't.
I think it's going to be Brandon Gaughan. That's who.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for sponsoring the race, Brandon Gaughan.
He sponsors the fall race, but yeah.
Gotcha. Either way, he sponsored Riley Herbst's car, and that's a big deal right there.
That's a big commitment.
Riley Herbst is garbage. It just want to mention that
sponsoring his car is like taking a shot in the dark. Anyways, going back to the Cup race, my driver of the race, Eric Jones, finished inside the top 10. Had a great day all day.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Sorry,
Stole my fucking thunder, bro. I'm never going to you first ever again.
I knew it was gonna be someone else's because he's like the real notable top 10.
Yeah, he's the only one that really stuck out.
And that's once again why I said maybe for my driver of the race, because I was going to have to look if someone else said Eric Jones.
My driver of the race is Eric Almirola now.
The goat, the Talladega goat.
Yeah, the goat who doesn't have Smithfield on his car this coming week. That's an interesting one. I wonder if their bacon's finally spoiling for Eric Almirola.
Dude, with how he started this season, I mean, shit, it's been bad.
I mean, he's going to be down there with Matty D somewhere in the low ranks. What about you, Rye? Who you got as your driver of the day? And it can't be Eric Jones. It can be, but it can't be.
It's not.
If you pick it, I'm coming to your house and beating your ass.
Well, I mean, it's not Eric Jones. I might get shit on for this, but my driver of the race is Kyle Busch. He.
I get it.
It's Kyle Busch because most of the stage 1 and 2, he was nowhere to be found really. He was late. He was the back half of the teens, most of that, running in there. He was shitting all over Ben Bayshore on the radio, saying this car fucking sucks. Why do we bring slow race cars? Blah, 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 blah. And they just kept working on it. And then that last, stage, he had one of the fastest cars for sure. He drove through all of his Joe Gibbs teammates that outran him most of the day. And some of the Penske cars, some of the Hendrick cars, and he just drove his way back up to third at his home racetrack. So I thought it was a good day for him. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think not to spoil my pick for Phoenix, but Kyle Busch might be someone I'm considering for that. So
that's gross, and I don't think anybody wants to hear that. I would say that my driver of the day, now that it's not going to be Eric Jones, who I probably thought of first, I think Eric Jones did really well. I'm glad to see that 43 car with Eric Jones in it finally, doing something notable. Not to say that I'm happier that a white guy is in the 43 car. That has nothing to do with the race. I just want to be clear
Please
about that.
Please don't cancel us. We like doing podcasts.
I want to say that my driver of the day is Anthony Alfredo for just keeping his foot in it with that 48 car, pretty much going
sending it
backwards, going into pit road. I think we were very close to seeing the first NASCAR driver die in a Cup car in a real long time. But actually, my driver of the day for the non-meme version of what I'm saying is Ryan Preece.
Ryan Preece.
Ryan Preece finished 15th.
Wow.
I know that wasn't a huge jump from where he started, because Ryan Preece started 19th, but to be a non-charter car, and be a JTG Doherty car, and do as well as he has to start this season. Me in 15th, I feel like he finished ahead of Matty D, Ryan Newman, Mikey McDowell, Kevin Harvick, Briscoe, Reddick, Chastain, non-existent Chastain, Cole, all of the Stuart Haas cars, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Behind him. Only Fords that mattered were Penske Fords in this race.
I was gonna say I think that's something we could touch on here, because this race, I mean, Phoenix is it's pretty much a very standard like cookie cutter track when people talk about cookie cutters. And obviously like the top 10, if you look at it, it's littered with Hendrick, Gibbs, Penske, like all those guys, all their cars ran well for the most part. Like we saw all the Hendrick cars at one point or another had speed. You know, Chase Elliott had some damage.
Bring something up real quick before we get like fully delved into teams.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go, Interrupter Jones.
Yeah, sorry about that, but I want to do it before I forget about it. Is Hendrick back? Is Hendrick back to what they were?
Oh, it's definitely.
Did they ever go anywhere considering their drive the championship last year?
They dropped off a cliff in like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because their one good driver stunk.
Well,
so like
now the other drivers have woken up, and then Kyle Larson, he's the fastest driver to ever win in Hendrick equipment. It only took him 4 races. It didn't take him 98 races, like some other guys.
Chase Elliott, not William Byron, 91.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a lot better. He's already halfway to tying Alex Bowman and William Byron for as many wins as they have in the Cup Series and with Hendrick. So he'll have them beat in like 3 or 4 more races, I'm pretty sure.
That's the thing, though, is like I at this stage in time, there's so many talented guys in the Cup Series. I really think it's just more about, where the car is at this point. Like, if the car is really like Hendrick this year, this is the best they've started the season in a while that they've been this good. We saw early in the race, like him, Chase Elliott might have had the fastest car before he had damage, and then he got caught up in a spin and that sort of thing.
He was the spin, just to be clear.
Yeah, no, he caught that air weird off of 2 and then spun it out and then he hit Kurt Busch and gave him some right side damage, which probably hurt him. So him, like Byron was really fast all race. Bowman was easily a top 10 car before his his flat tire.
27th.
Yeah. Weren't they running like 1, 2, 3, 4 for a while? Or no, it was like 1, 2, 3 for like the first 20 laps.
Yeah, it was early in the race.
Like Penske cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I was going off. It was just like, all the Gibbs cars were all in the top 7. The Penske cars, Keselowski was 2nd, Blaney was 5th, Logano was 9th. We can all agree those are the 3 best teams, obviously, right now.
Matty D would have finished in the top 10 if not for having one old left front tire stuck on his car.
Right. No, that's we
would have had all 4 Penske related cars in the top 10 if not for that.
But it feels like just last week we were talking about, like, look at, like, Roush and, like, look at these guys. Look at, like, how well Kurt Busch has run and that sort of thing. And, like, some of these smaller teams, like, Priest had a couple of top 10s. But, in this race, it was literally just those 3 teams were head and shoulders above everybody else, it seemed like.
Snap back to reality.
The the top finishing Stuart Haas car was Kevin Harvick in 20th place.
And that was the other thing. I was like, Stuart Haas they have been terrible this year. I mean,
Harvick has 3 top 10s, but
he has 3 but he has been competitive in any of them.
No, really. He hasn't. So, he has not looked like the best car at all.
And that was the thing. I think a lot of people came in the week like, oh, Harvick's starting the pole. Like, he's run really well at Vegas in the past. Like, he's going to be up there. And, like, the first lap, he, like, went straight back. And then he just never could get it. I know they had some left front damage, and they ended up cutting a tire, and they got a lucky caution to bail them out a little bit, but they didn't
take advantage of it.
They didn't at all. No,
I think we failed to mention also that the Joe Gibbs cars were all in the top 10. I hate to even bring it up. Makes me sick to my stomach.
No, I said that. Yeah, they were all in the top 7. You know, Christopher Bell, I was almost thinking about him for a driver of the race because he, you know, I mean, Eric Jones, like we said, like it seemed like last year it was like Eric Jones was definitely the 4th best Gibbs car, but like at times this year it's felt like Bell has like shown himself to be like the best or second
above Kyle Busch. Yeah, he's been.
Yeah, I mean it's
hard to say because I feel like Hamlin and Truex have both been pretty solid.
Oh yeah, I mean Hamlin's
although you know neither has a win like Christopher Bell does, because we're living in bizarro land. But
well,
where does this leave this race overall? Where do you guys rate this race, Rye? I'll go to you.
Well, I think that's the other thing is, you know, we obviously need to talk. I mean, the racing itself and just the draft seemed like it was such a big, you know, component here, like more than I've remembered in like quite a few like intermediate tracks that we've raced, and even like any of the Vegas races we've raced before. Like, I felt like the draft was like way bigger. I don't know if it was because the temperatures were down a little bit and it was like overcast and that sort of thing for most of the race. It just felt like whoever the leader was, you couldn't get away until you had like at least 20 laps on the tires, to where like once you got to about 20 laps on the tires, then like the handling seemed to actually matter. But before that, it was just like you just had to play the draft right and get in the right lines and follow the right things. And you couldn't like get, you know, we just saw so many, like for the first 15 laps of a restart, guys were just 3 wide easily. Just, you know, everybody was up there, and it was, I mean, that's exciting to watch, obviously, but it's also at the same time, like we're watching it and we're like, they're all fucking wide open, you know? So it's a little bit of a catch-22 there. It's like, it's cool and we like that, but also it's like, it feels like the skill level for like driving it like that is just so far down because you're just holding it wide open and trying to get in the right drafting lanes. You know,
it's all how good your crew has your car set up. Basically, it comes down to your pit crew and you communicating with your crew chief, figuring out the right little tweaks to make, and that's right. I think what it came down to. I just think, you know, Cliff Daniels, who couldn't get a win with Jimmy Johnson, has a win now.
Right, and I mean that was the thing with Larson's car. I mean, just to touch on Larson a little bit more. I mean, that you could tell like that car. I mean, it was good early in the run. It was good late in the run. I mean, it was much like Byron's car was last week. I mean, it was good top, bottom. Like that car could. I think that was the biggest thing with Larson is like he could go anywhere. He was fast any part of the track. And I think that's why once they got, you know, strung out and they had some green flag pit stops and that sort of thing, that's why he was pulling away, because he could get through all the lap traffic so good, because he was just as fast on the bottom as he was on the middle, as he was on the top. So
what number grade would you put on this race?
I was getting that.
I mean, okay. It was a very long-winded explanation for a number.
So watch him be like 5.
Yeah.
No,
I just need to put your train on the right track here.
It's on the right track. I'm making sure we got to touch all these little things.
Hey, be careful when you clap, bro. Logan might cut
All right.
the podcast
Logan,
right there.
don't cut
Please,
this.
no cut.
That was just a normal human clap.
we're still
Second.
rolling here, Logan. I'm gonna give it. I was thinking about it. I'm gonna give it a 9.2. 9.2.
I feel like you're rating these races on Dave Portnoy's pizza scale.
Hey, it's a
I respect
professional
it.
grade. It's a professional grade here.
Yeah, just like Ford, professional grade.
So, well, last week I think I gave the road course an 8.3, and I think I gave the Homestead a 8.1.
Yeah, but what do you think of Homestead as a person?
I mean, William Byron won there, so I feel pretty good about Homestead as a person.
I think Homestead reminds me of Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. 305.
No, I mean, I think it was like I said at the beginning. I think it was one of the top 3 to 5 races with this specific package at this style of track that I've seen. It was crazy. Obviously, we didn't have the crazy end of the race caution, whatever. But sometimes
didn't need it.
And that was the other thing was with that Alex Bowman thing is I was thinking back to it. I was like, if he obviously like he missed the commitment line. If he freaked out and was like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss the commitment line, stayed out, that would have brought out a caution.
Yeah.
And Kyle Larson might not have won that race.
A little bit harder, he would have died.
Yeah. Well, Kyle Larson might not have won that race if he did that. His team.
And I might have lost right about $400 on a wacky restart too. So I was pretty okay with it.
Lost something. Alex Bowman.
I didn't breathe for the last 40 laps of that race with that money on the line.
Right, and that's the thing is for me, I don't need the crazy insane finish. That to me doesn't do a whole lot for my rating of race. It's about the complete product as a whole. The more natural finish makes it feel like it felt like everybody finished about where they were supposed to. Obviously, we talked about like the Benedetto and like Bowman. They kind of got screwed on a couple of things, and they both should have finished in the top 10.
Our friend Larry would probably say that Chase got screwed, even though everything they did, they pretty much did to themselves. So, I think I know Larry mentioned something about doing some repairs that really didn't need to be done that set them further back in the pack, which pretty much caused them to spin because of the lack of air. Yeah. But, I'm just going to cut to myself and say I thought that race was probably about an 8.75. I will not.
8.7, 2 decimal places.
Yeah, bro. You want to hear professional? That's professional grade.
I gotta get more professional, I guess.
I will say this. I think I can sum it up a lot quicker than Ryan did.
Yeah, definitely.
With 2 things.
Sorry for hogging all that time.
I was never bored during that race.
Yes.
And that is very important because on a Sunday afternoon with a belly full of something, it's real easy to take a nap during a NASCAR race, even if it's accidental. Yes, yeah. But granted, I did have a pretty good day on FanDuel, won $400 for all you out there. I'm sure everybody listening. Everybody listening already knows that.
I won
one of my friends are going to listen to this.
I won the NASCAR Fantasy this week, so no big deal to that either.
Yeah, the Wisco.
Also, our friend of the podcast, Zach Ferris. I watched the race with him on Sunday here. He was leading. It's the 4 of us and this boy
some guy.
And some guy, and he was beating all of us going into this week.
Yeah, but look how close I am. I choked up a little bit on him.
Yeah, what's the standings at? Let me look at the standings.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, 640. He's at 649. You're at 645. Jay's at 632. I'm at 618.
Hey, that was a big comeback for getting a pick the second week.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
You know what? When we get close to the end of the season, each person will do our own math. Each person will get to take out their worst week, and that'll bring Logan back into the mix since he missed week 1 of the fantasy league. So that's only fair because he gets double zeros, so he's still at a disadvantage. And but at least he's at he's at more of a disadvantage. He'll be even with us at least. Yeah. My brain doesn't work very well either. Tyler, where do you rate the race?
I think I gave Homestead like a 9.1, 9.2, so I'm gonna have to give this one a 9. I know, don't worry about it though. I think I'm gonna have to give this one a 9.362 just to get even more professional.
Holy shit! Yeah, you get into pie territory.
Yeah. I think it was a little bit better than Homestead just because I'm a Homestead cuck. I love Homestead, but this Vegas race, I could honestly watch like every single lap of it and be like, invested with it. Like I had to go to work, and the whole way to work, I was watching it on the on my center console. I was like,
"Hey, yo, are we gonna wreck? Am I about to do a Tiger Woods right now?"
I'm like, hey, yo, bro, I'm about to look like Chase Elliott right now with that right side damage.
my race rating gets a bump because William Byron didn't win, so that bumps it up a couple notches as well. I know we haven't had a Penske boy in victory lane yet, but
I'm okay with that.
They always around, so it's a matter of time.
So speaking of Penske and stuff, let's get into our picks for next week.
Next week we have Phoenix International Raceway.
Wait, that sounds like a segue. That sounded like a segue, like you were gonna pick a Penske driver here.
The true Penske cut. Let's pick him. Let's pick him first. Let's see what he wants to say, Mr. J.
Yeah, that's a tough one considering I didn't write anybody down. I'm gonna say, because he's been good, and I really would be weird if I picked Joey Logano again. I feel like I might have picked him twice already, but I mean, it's logical. I'm going to go with Keselowski. He probably wins that race last year if he doesn't have the pit crew from hell. I think at the very least he has a chance to give Chase the bumper at some point. I mean, think about how many pit stops. He had a few pit stops where he went in front of Chase and came out behind Chase, or like behind 3 or 4 guys and still worked his way back to second. So I think Brad Keselowski wins this race.
Brad Keselowski won this race.
You know it, boy. You wrecked me under Yeller.
Hey, before we forget here, we got to throw in Logan's pick. Logan did give his pick to us for.
Yeah, he said Tommy Joe Martin for the Cup race, right? And the Xfinity race. Yeah.
And the IMSA race and the F1 race.
I think he said Jesse Iwuji would probably win the ARCA race. That doesn't exist. No, who did he say?
He said he was going to pick Chase Elliott for the Cup race here.
That's a no pick can get simpier than that.
I mean, except you picking Logano, so
I picked Keselowski.
Yeah, you picked Keselowski.
That's still pretty fun.
Oh, picking Logano to win a race last week that he's won 2 years in a row. That's weird pick.
Yeah, I mean,
picking my
Chase
favorite
won it like last
what he
year.
Should have done.
Probably should have won the spring race too. So
yeah, give us Todd Gordon back.
It's a good pick, Logan. I mean, I can't fault that one.
It's a safe pick.
It's a safe pick.
Low key, I think Jeremy Bullins might be the worst of the Penske crew chiefs, but he's got the GOAT of the Penske drivers. You don't think? I think I'd pick Todd Gordon or Paul Wolfe before I pick Jeremy Bullins to be my crew chief. Doesn't even look like Jeremy. It looks like Jeremy Bullins takes care of his body like I take care of my body. So how does he take care of a race car? Being a schlub?
Mean, feels like Todd Gordon is like pretty.
Yeah, I guess Todd Gordon looks like he just ate like some mozzarella sticks and didn't wipe any of the crumbs off his shirt. Like it seems like he's that kind of guy. Like he gets crumbs on the engine block, and some little peon has to go in afterwards with a little tiny vacuum cleaner and soak them all back up.
I mean, shit, like him and like Brad and Jeremy Bullins, they were pretty good last year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the results. Those, Bullins and Wolf took their drivers to the Final Four. So.
Right, and I think that was also the thing last year with the 2-car was last year. It seemed like the short track car, I guess you want to call it, the 750 with the short spoiler, that it seemed like the 2-car for most of the year they were like the best at those style tracks. So, I mean, that's probably a good pick. So
they're gonna kill it with consistency. I mean, shit, they could. I think both of those guys, they probably won't go a full season without winning a race, but they could, and they'd still end up in the final four because of how consistent they are.
You know what's crazy? I was just looking at the standings here. So Denny Hamlin has a 38-point lead. Like that's a lot after 4 races for somebody who hasn't won any of the races.
The only driver with 3 top 5s.
3 top 5s, 3 stage wins. So I mean,
0 DNFs. Yeah.
No, he's obviously doing well. YT, who's your pick for Phoenix?
Well, I picked Keselowski last week. I'm fucking doing it again until he wins because I have
Let's
4
go.
wins.
That's right, my boy.
4 wins this season, so he's got to get one somewhere. So I think he's getting out of Phoenix. He was really good there last year at the championship race, except his pit crew decided to eat some Snickers before they pitted him. So they were just sitting there watching his car. But
that ghost of Dale Earnhardt's mustache on your upper lip is really giving you a sense of fucking foresight. I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah, dude. Dale Earnhardt, he's been in my back pocket ever since I grew out the stash.
Yeah.
NASCAR
you got the goat there.
NASCAR didn't die when Dale died. NASCAR died when I shaved his mustache.
Yeah, I think a lot of Facebook commenters would probably disagree with what you just said there. But yeah. I
got Keselowski winning this thing. I mean, like I said, I'm picking him until he wins just because I have him for 4 wins this season. So,
2.
Make me
2
proud.
of us got the 2. Who you got, boy?
I kind of teased this a little bit earlier, but
yeah.
I'm gonna go Kyle Busch to win this.
Wow, who would have thought? I never would have thought, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kyle Busch to win this one. Gibbs, I feel like has quietly been very good at Phoenix recently. I was just looking at Kyle Busch's finishes the last few Phoenix races here. So he finished 11th,
14th in points. Kyle Busch, is that the Kyle Busch you're talking about?
That is that Kyle Busch. So he's
just ahead of like Chris Buescher and Ricky Stenhouse. Kyle Busch, yeah, all right.
That is that Kyle Busch. So he's finished. He finished 11th the last time we were at Phoenix, but before that he went 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 7th, 3rd, 2nd, 4th, 4th.
You know what the big difference between those times are?
What?
There was practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
What's he done since then?
He's a big practice guy. He knows what he wants with his car.
He won 1 race under these circumstances. I mean, he's only 35 years old, but something's going on in his life. I said it the other day. He's not racing late models anymore, which was like his biggest passion. Rowdy Manufacturing even changed went back to the old name, and they're not even called Rowdy Manufacturing for his chassis building business anymore. Something weird is going on in Kyle Busch's life.
But I'm also saying too, like what I said earlier, is that he's a big practice guy. He's a big setup guy. Like he knows what he wants in a setup, and I think that he is just like a peculiar driver, like in what he wants in a setup. So once they can't really like
in that scenario, he should know that him and his crew chief should be on. He's such an experienced driver. You would think they'd be on the same wavelength, unloading a car.
Yeah, that
was the other thing I was gonna touch on was so like him and his crew chief, like Ben Bayshore, like they won. I know they won an Xfinity race together here at Phoenix too. Like nobody really like when people think about Kyle Busch's best tracks. I don't think anybody really thinks about Phoenix being like one of his best tracks, but like if you like look at like the data and that sort of thing, like honestly it is. Like he's got 3 wins here in like the Cup Series, and like as I like mentioned,
600 wins in the Xfinity Series.
He has it's the most wins he has in any like Xfinity Series track. He's got 11 wins in the Xfinity Series there. I think he has 2 wins in the Truck Series there. Like, I mean, Phoenix it's definitely one of his better tracks for sure. I don't know. I think
Kyle Busch racing in the Xfinity Series is like Michael Jordan going to play in the G League All-Star game anyway, so it really...
I mean, 11 wins. 11 wins is 11 wins, though. I mean, I don't care who you are and what equipment you're in. That's still like fucking impressive to have 11 wins at one track.
It is. Unfortunately, it is.
I mean, Kyle Busch has 357 Xfinity races, and he's got 97 wins and 258 top 10s of those 357 races. I mean, you're not telling me that Michael Jordan wouldn't score 60 points in a G League All-Star game and is even in his like late prime. It's the same thing.
I mean,
he's been in great cars every single time he's raced in that series. I just can't. I have a hard time. Not to mention, like you guys said, he jumped the cup pretty quickly. So almost the whole time he's racing in the lesser series, he's a cup driver. It's just such shit. It's hard.
He's also just like really fucking good. I mean, that's the thing though. Is like I think there's a lot of other guys you could put in like a car that was similar to that in like that many races, and I don't think they're getting to 97. Like that's.
You don't think Ty Dillon is going to get 97 Xfinity victories?
Bro, he's going to have 97 wins by the end of this season.
No.
Yeah, Ty Dillon was a little disappointing, huh?
I'll be honest. Like I almost think. I think 97 wins in the Xfinity series, like as many years as Kyle Busch has raced in that, is like fairly close to as impressive as 200 wins for Petty in the Cup Series. You guys can say whatever you want about that, but
no, I kind of agree with that.
I gotta agree with that.
Petty was winning at a time where I feel like there weren't a whole lot of guys like fielding full-time cars, and there's a lot that goes into that, in my opinion. The same reason I think Dale Earnhardt probably has the most impressive 7 championships. Because in that same point system, Jimmy Johnson doesn't have 7 championships. Jimmy Johnson has like 4, maybe, at the most. I think because one of the YouTuber guys did the math. And Joey Logano has like...
The iceberg. Shout out to the iceberg.
Yeah, Joey Logano has like 2 or 3 more championships in the old NASCAR point system. So I'm going to default to that as the GOAT point system.
I think we could save that for an off week. That'd be really good.
That's a good one. I also saw someone
write that down.
I also saw on the NASCAR Reddit. I saw that on the NASCAR Reddit Twitter account. They did if NASCAR was like the Formula One point standings, like who would be leading. I think Larson would be leading, and I think Hamlin was next. But I think like Michael McDowell was third.
Yeah, so, he was up there.
Yeah. That would be another interesting one, just to see like the different point standings and that sort of thing. But
you know how many? I know I hate Kyle. I'm not a Kyle Busch fan in any way, shape, or form. But I had his Wikipedia pulled up from before. Do you know how many total wins he has over the 3 series?
Was it like 215 or something?
That's pretty close. It's 213.
213.
Jesus.
It's pretty.
That's insane, and I don't. I don't
even play iRacing in real life.
I don't even think that, and that's the unfortunate part, is like this dude's only 35 years old. And granted, you know, back in 2009, 2010, 2011, 13, you know, those years, like he was piling up like almost 20 wins across all 3 series a year. I mean, it's not going to go up that much now just because of the regulations that they've put on the truck and Xfinity series, but that's still really fucking insane. I don't care how good equipment you are, that is crazy.
And that's in about 1,100 races too. I don't know how to do the math. I don't even want to do the math on that. It is pretty. His truck in 156 truck series races, he's got 59 wins and 124 top 10s.
Yeah.
It's basically like you're going to win about a third of the truck. Every third truck race on average is how that works for Kyle Busch, which at this point makes sense. I mean, I'm happy anytime he doesn't win in the lesser series. I'm very excited. When I thought he was going to win for a bit on Friday night, I was getting bummed out.
I just like it when like when he actually like gets like outrun. Like that's a thing that like perks me up and like makes me look at like one of these other like guys in the lower series that like beat him. I'm like, wow, like that was impressive that you know, beat this guy in top equipment. Obviously one of the greatest talents we've ever seen. To do that sort of thing. And like John Hunter Nemechek, I mean, it seemed like
he beat him in the same equipment.
He beat him in the same. I mean, that car was really fucking good. Or
the last person I remember
that truck was really fucking good.
The last person who did that, speaking of GOAT drivers, I think was Brendan Jones at Phoenix.
That's right.
He beat Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess we're putting Brendan Jones up there in the stratosphere.
That's a good segue to our Xfinity picks. We only got 2 series this weekend. So who do you guys got for the Xfinity race?
I don't even know anybody driving the Xfinity series anymore.
I got Cindric.
Oh, Cindric. That's a.
Remember when people called him Austin Spindrick because they thought he was a bad driver?
Dude,
I was 19 and driving.
That was crazy.
Can we go back and celebrate the 2018 60 car of the Xfinity series? That thing was a fucking legend, dude.
Dude, that thing was straight up cursed. I feel like
it was.
I feel like that hauler. I think that hauler accidentally went off the road and drove through an Indian burial ground, just ripped it up because that car had everything go wrong. I mean, one of the best YouTube videos is
the 60
like Ty Majeski, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric driving that car that year. And I feel like they must have tore up the most cars in one season.
It was incredible. It was like every fucking week in stage 1, like this car was spinning and hitting shit. Like it was like it was almost like unfathomable, like how that car did that.
That car could have been an open and like clean air, like running 9th, and like the tire would just explode. Like somebody filled it with gasoline, and then it would just like do a backflip and hit the inside wall. It was, oh man, that's why I think it was cursed. Like no matter, because Ty Majeski is not a bad driver, not a good driver. He hasn't been a good driver in any of the NASCAR related series. But like now you look at Briscoe and Cindric and where they've come. They were younger, obviously, and we do know Roush Fenway is garbage. So I don't think they were giving them, exactly definitely weren't giving them the 60 car they used to give Carl Edwards. Let's agree with right there. But yeah, that's got to be that'll be another good topic for an off week, like the most cursed cars of all time.
That's a good one.
I really feel like, that car for that like season and a half. I
don't even know if you could beat that, honestly.
I just looked up the video, and it's every time the number 60 car crashes in 2018 by Raw Gator, it's 9 minutes long.
Yeah, I'm gonna literally probably watch that as soon as we're done.
I have
it's fantastic. Did everybody make their picks? We got everybody's picks in for Phoenix.
For Xfinity, I haven't made mine for the Xfinity. Xfinity, so that's the thing it feels like in recent years here, like the Gibbs cars have just been really fucking good. So I'm gonna take that, and I knew I was gonna take a Gibbs car. I just didn't know which one.
Hi, Dylan.
But I'm gonna go with Ty Gibbs. I'm going to take Ty Gibbs.
Can I change my pick, actually? Because I don't want to have a cuck pick like Austin Cindric, because it's almost a given. I am going to go Harrison Burton, who hasn't had the very best of luck this season. I think he's going to turn it around at Phoenix. And he's going to be battling Brandon Jones for the win, because apparently Brandon Jones is Phoenix God.
Phoenix God. No, I thought, honestly, for me, it was like... Honestly, I was thinking Hemrick or Ty Gibbs, as much as that might sound crazy. Just because, like, that he's run Hemrick won.
Run? You don't say won because Hendrick's never won. He hasn't won. He's won the All-American 400 about 10 years ago, and that's about all he's won. Who was Logan's pick? I know he said
it was Justin
Alligator.
Yeah, I mean that's it is kind of a simple pick, but we all know like Allgaier, that's probably his best track on the circuit. So that or Bristol those are probably his two best tracks. So I mean that's not a bad pick at all.
I was also going to say Ty Gibbs.
Ooh,
and I still will.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with Ty Gibbs. I think Ty Gibbs is gonna go out there and prove that he's better than pretty much everybody else. Until Sam Mayer gets to the series, it's not gonna be that interesting.
Yeah, and that I was just like looking at the entry list. Like, funny enough, it's just like funny to me. Like, so, like it says that Ty Gibbs is in a 2020 Toyota. Whereas like his teammates are in 2021 Toyota. So I don't know what that's about, but I mean there's no
even
chance
Chad
that
Finchem's in a 2021 Toyota. So.
David Starr's in a 2021 Toyota.
Go.
I think that's probably a mistake, but if it's not a mistake, they're giving Ty Gibbs lesser equipment to even it out so he doesn't look as good.
But I mean,
they don't want Brandon Jones to look that bad when his dad's running paying for the whole Xfinity team.
But that's the thing, though. It's like it's a Joe Gibbs racing car. There's 100% chance the best Joe Gibbs racing car is going to be Ty Gibbs this weekend because like there's no chance Ty Gibbs is going to look bad in anything. But like Ty Gibbs, he has like ARCA experience like at Phoenix and that sort of thing. I
believe he's won a race.
I think he did. I think he did win an ARCA race there. But the Gibbs cars, they have just been really fucking good there, especially the spring race for whatever reason at that track. But I think he's going to be the best one out of the bunch there.
It seems like a safe bet. I'm glad you didn't pick Daniel Hemrick because Daniel Hemrick's never going to win.
He's going to win one. He is going to win one this year, I think.
To say it, but he's going to win one, and I'll pick him again sometime this year and try and look like a genius. But I want to keep the meme alive. Like, I wanted to keep the meme alive with Chase Elliott finishing second. Now I want to keep the meme alive of Daniel Hemrick finishing second.
Dude, Hemrick, so it's like Cindric is leading the point standings. Hemrick is second, 21 points behind. And then Brandon
Hemrick knows second. He knows how second feels. It feels good on Hemrick.
Gonna make the Final Four again without getting a win for like the third time.
I mean, shit, he might. Dude, you know what's crazy about it? I'm looking at the standings right now. So Cindric's in first. He has 4 top 5s this year, 3 stage wins. Hemrick is right there at 21 points behind. Jones is 51 points behind in third. And fourth is Jeb Burton, bro. I don't even like Jeb Burton has 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s, but I feel like I haven't even like heard him on a broadcast or like seen him at all this year. He's in front of Justin Haley is 5th and Allmendinger is 6th. Like, I don't know what's up with that, but I mean. So
just to touch back on Ty Gibbs, he won a K&N Pro Series West race at Phoenix, but in the 2 ARCA races he's raced at Phoenix, both under 18. He's finished second and third, so he's got a second and third and a first at Phoenix.
I know the fall race he like completely dominated, and there was a late caution. I think Chandler Smith got him.
Well, I remember watching that shit.
Yeah, he should have won that race. But
so Jeb Burton doesn't have a win in Xfinity on his career, right?
Nope.
Neither does Daniel Hemrick, right?
Yep.
But Ty Gibbs does.
Not wrong.
I'm guessing Burton has to be at least 30.
Oh, let me look it up.
Burton's 8th right now. Oh, his age.
Well, I know his age. I know Hemrick is 30 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeb Burton's 28.
Dude, Michael Annett is the top junior motorsports car right now in points.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that's probably only because Josh Berry. He didn't race the.
No, he didn't race the Roval.
He didn't race the Daytona Road Course.
Yeah,
I feel like if Josh
Okay.
Berry would be the top junior car if he had
Yeah,
raced the Daytona Road.
Barry has 71 points and 16th, and Michael Annett is in 11th with 90. So
Noah Gragson.
And
is
Allgaier, yeah,
last.
Gregson, Allgaier.
Gregson's 12th, 74, and then Allgaier is 15.
Oh, he's 12th?
That's impressive considering he finished outside the top 30 3 races out of 4.
It's probably literally just stage points. He just piled it up. So
That and, the rest of the Xfinity Series just doesn't even have the equipment to compete with those top, 8
Dude.
cars.
Riley Herbst is currently 19th.
That's dope.
Riley Herbst is not going to get a victory.
Make the playoffs? Is it still 12 make the
He
playoffs?
will probably make the playoffs because of the car, but
12 guys make the playoffs.
it's
So
I don't want him to make the playoffs.
Let's just think about it. So we know Cindric, Allmendinger, Snyder is in. I think Hemrick, Jones, and Burton, all those guys are going to get in.
You're
so
saying
that's
Harrison Burton, but
Yes,
probably both Burtons
Harrison
at this point.
well. I mean, Haley's going to make it. Jeb, I mean, he's probably going to make it. So that's 6. That's 8. That's 8 guys locked in there. You got Gregson's going to make it. Allgaier's going to make it. That's 10. Is Annett going to make it?
Either Brendan Brown or
Jeff Clemens is 9th in points right now.
yeah, and Ryan Sieg's having a rough run, even though we're only. I mean, because you'd really usually put Brendan Brown or Ryan Sieg in there too.
He might be in there. Yeah, Sieg's down in 22nd. Yeah.
Joe Graf Jr. is 14th, ahead of Justin
Jesus.
Allgaier, dude. And just trash equipment.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Disappointingly-
any top 10s either.
Honestly, the tough luck driver. I know this. I'm a fucking Alex LeBay cuck, but Alex LeBay has had some shit luck. He was caught up in Riley Herbst's bullshit at Daytona. He was caught up in someone else's bullshit at Las Vegas the other night. He's just been caught up in other people's bullshit. That's a bummer. I'll just say I'm bummed about that.
Dude, maybe Ty Gibbs will make the playoffs.
Ty Gibbs is 23rd and he's only raced one race. He's ahead of Ty Dillon, who's raced 3 races. Matt Mills, Vargas, Timmy Hill, Jeffrey Earnhardt, LeBay, Galding, Howard.
I mean, he's only 15
Bailey
points behind Riley Herbst.
Yeah.
He'll pass Riley Herbst this week.
Yeah, that's saying a lot. And, well, not to mention Josh Berry is ahead of Josh Williams, TJM, Herbst, Jesse Little, Ryan Sieg.
That's the thing. The Xfinity Series is so, shallow. There's just...
Yeah.
It feels like the Truck Series feels deep. The Cup Series feels deep. The Xfinity Series is there's a lot of great racing, but it's just even the guys that the top guys like Cindric or Allmendinger or Harrison Burton, even if they have trouble or they spin out and they have damage, they still finish 9th pretty easily. You know what I mean? It's just there's not a lot of competition.
Gone are the days when a JD Motorsports car can compete for a win. Because I hate to say it, but Chastain was the only guy who, and Priest once in a great while when he was in that car, one of those cars, he put him in the top 10. But now they just have money guys like Vargas and Colby Howard. Colby Howard actually looks
TikTok
real
money. That TikTok money though.
Colby Howard looked real good in a super late model for a couple of years. I actually expected more from Joey Gase Jr. when he got to the Xfinity Series. He looks like Joey Gase. Looks a lot like Joey Gase. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up everything that we should and shouldn't have talked about tonight. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I agree with that.
I just want to thank everybody's grandparents for listening to the podcast. I think you guys are probably holding strong as our only subscribers on YouTube. And we'll be back next week with our recaps of Phoenix and
look ahead to Atlanta.
And looking ahead to
Sir.
Atlanta.
And
Until then,
those of y'all that only watch 9 minutes of the episode, sit your ass down, get some popcorn, and listen to the rest of it because it only gets better. We got a long run podcast here.
yeah, if you've got
we're in it for the long run, baby.
if
We
you've
ain't got that
YouTube-
short run.
if you've got YouTube Premium like I do, you can even shut your phone off and you don't even have to look at us. You can just listen to us. But hey, if you're going to listen to us, why not subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts? Because we're there too. And I wouldn't want to look at my own face if I was listening to this podcast either. So that's a real good way to avoid looking at my fat face. And even though I think a lot of you are probably jerking off to these other 3 young boys, and I don't think that's right. I really think you should probably get another hobby. I'm looking at you, Mitch Coons. And we will see you next week.